I travelled the length and breadth of this country. I did meetings in every major city. I did no end of factory meetings, college meetings, university meetings, and I did put the case across. At the end of the day, the majority of Labour voters voted to remain. The vast majority of Conservative voters voted to leave. I'm not happy with that situation, but we've got to reach out to everybody. We've got to reach out to those communities that feel let down by Britain, let down by Europe, and feel, frankly, they've been ignored ever since the destruction of the heavy industries by Margaret Thatcher's government in the 80s.
Well, much of that alienation is centred right here on Westminster, and you are of Westminster. You made your plea. You, like David Cameron, failed. He's resigning. Are you?
No, I'm carrying on. I'm making the case for unity. I'm making the case of what Labour can offer to Britain, of decent housing for people, of good secure jobs for people, of trade with Europe and indeed of course with other parts of the world, because if we don't get the trade issue right, we've got a real problem in this country. Already, since the Leave vote, there have been financial problems and they're probably going to get considerably worse. We need to have a government that doesn't heap yet more austerity on the poorest people in this country, a government that is prepared to intervene to protect jobs and industry.
Well, the inevitable consequence of today, with a resigned Prime Minister, is that there will be a new Prime Minister, presumably not of his particular outlook, but somebody more sceptical of Europe. The question then is, should there be a general election? Are you calling for a general election?
I think the issue will come up after the election of the new Tory leader. They may well decide to call an election. That will be...
Yeah, but are you pressing for one? I mean, shouldn't the British people...
What the British people need now is stability. Is stability to retain those jobs, stability to protect those working conditions, and we need a plan from this government now on how they're going to approach the negotiations for leaving the European Union before they invoke Article 50.
Your party is split most divisively over you. It is perfectly clear that the majority of Labour MPs want to get rid of you, and they say so. And who's done so today? Margaret Hodge, formerly a very prestigious MP in the House of Commons, and she's called for a vote of confidence in you later this year.
Margaret obviously is entitled to do what she wishes to do.
But it symbolises the problem, doesn't it?
I would ask her to think for a moment. Just think for a moment. A Tory Prime Minister resigned. Britain has voted to leave the European Union. There are massive political issues to be addressed. Is it really a good idea to start a big debate in the Labour Party when I was elected less than a year ago with a very large mandate?
Do you really ever want to be Prime Minister? I mean, with the appalling burdens that it inflicts upon you and your way of life.
The burdens it inflicts on people who suffer under this government or any other government that doesn't provide the housing people need, that doesn't provide the schools they need, that doesn't provide the hope they need, is far worse. Of course, I want to lead this party. I want to lead this party in order to put forward an alternative and lead this party to win the election.